This is something I plan my May around. You know, my wife knows every May I'm going to Europe for a week for GWS, wherever it may be, and it's a place where the whole industry gathers, and from morning to late at night, you're talking about something substantive, whether it's in a session, whether it's just having a networking meeting. So we're involved as we are every year. We have a whole team here. I have 7 people here talking about stuff from technology to finance, and it's the best place to gather for the water industry. You're able to get the whole industry here. So I know who I'm going to meet, a lot of old friends, a lot of new friends, and you have the spectrum. I can have technological conversations, I can have conversations on finance, I can meet corporate water end users, I can meet my contemporaries in the industry and compare notes. So it's really the best get-together in the industry to have a holistic view of all issues in water. I mean, so many partnerships, so many connections I've made here in these halls over coffee, over speed networking that have led to business, that have led to various, benefits and growth for Aquatech. Day zero is getting better and better. I think they had session on desalination and the future and game changers. I'm going to put in a plug for my own lithium session and educating the market on something that's not even water. So, what stood out to me this time is where day zero used to be kind of like, there's this one specialized session and some people will come for it. And I thought that was what we were getting in today. But day zero had a full agenda, a good attendance, and I think that was something different this year. So I think what I've been seeing over the time we've been coming to GWS is, 10, 15 years ago, it was much more weighted towards municipal and infrastructure. And the conference has grown. And while municipal and infrastructure topics have grown, so has industrial. And over the last 4 or 5 years, the pace at which it has grown has been the fastest. And I find it very interesting. We've been in industrial water for 45 years. And for a long time, it was one dimension. It was, water's important for industry. Of course. Last 10 years, industry has elevated their awareness of water and they've had a sustainability agenda. I think we've evolved to the next step where we're, of course, talking about sustainability, but we're talking about resilience, water risk, water security. And I see a lot of more corporates here. So that's why we're very much involved in this concept of water for industry. And there's a lot of conversations going about new business models and how to really solve the water risk challenges. So I think what I've been seeing over the time we've been coming to GWS is, 10, 15 years ago, it was much more weighted towards municipal and infrastructure. And the conference has grown, and while municipal and infrastructure topics have grown, so has industrial. And over the last 4 or 5 years, the pace at which it has grown has been the fastest. And I find it very interesting. We've been in industrial water for 45 years, and for a long time it was one dimension. It was, water's important for industry. Of course. Last 10 years, industry has elevated their awareness of water and they've had a sustainability agenda. I think we've evolved to the next step where we're, of course, talking about sustainability, but we're talking about resilience, water risk, water security. And I see a lot of more corporates here. So that's why we're very much involved in this concept of water for industry. And there's a lot of conversations going about new business models and how to really solve the water risk challenges. I feel it's really a new model for industrial water. And what I've learned over my years is, infrastructure, municipal is very used to a PPP or a BOO model. And it's very straightforward because it's usually a water reuse plant or a desalination plant that you can wrap into a tariff. Industry is a little more complex. It's a little more nuanced in the technology. You have water in, you have water within, you have water out, you have zero discharge. So you can't really simplify it into something so straightforward as a single tariff. Also, industries don't want a black box. Industries want to be involved. So what we created with Stegra and John Laing, the end user and the financier, and Aquatech, the operator and technology provider, it's a ethos of transparency and flexibility, where everybody is collaborating together. The end user is involved in the contract, the end user is involved in the execution, and they have the security and the confidence that they have a control. It's not a black box. They know what's going on. And that's the kind of business model you need to successfully work with industry. I think there's a trade-off between a conventional procurement process of trying to get the best CapEx and what I say slicing and dicing various packages and running a process. That's one way, that's kind of an old school way of doing things. Or if you have a vision of water resilience, water security, and you're willing to get a little bit uncomfortable, open-minded, and work transparency and flexibly, if you start early in the process with a partnership, you can integrate, you can get to water security, water resilience, low cost, high reliability, do it faster and do it cheaper. But you got to take that leap of faith of being uncomfortable and getting to transparency and flexibility. I think absolutely. We've seen an unprecedented demand for it. And it's a result of several tailwinds for this concept. One is the technology is getting more acute. It's less conventional. It's more challenging waters, more challenging objectives of purity. So with that, you need more knowledge. You also have corporations that are trying to get more lean. So they want to focus on what they're producing rather than have large engineering departments. And we see a great need for bringing to the industry an accountable partner, giving a predictable price, and warranting a guarantee. And that's where we come in, and we've had great response to it, and we're really excited about water technology as a service. You need experience. If you're asking an industry to trust you and to go on a journey with you with that outcome, and maybe go a little bit against the grain of their procurement process, you have to have the credibility. You have to be able to show, I've done this here, I've done this there. So one barrier is definitely experience, track record. But the other one is purely psychological. It's what I call the desire and the open-mindedness to get uncomfortable. Doing something, changing what the norm is, takes a lot of confidence, self-confidence, security, and that willingness to open your mind and get uncomfortable is the biggest barrier, I feel. I feel great. It's built into our name, Aquatech. We're all about water technology, so it's what we've been doing for 45 years, and it was very nice to have that recognition. I think that's the brand promise we provide. Aquatech, it's built into the name. We're all about water technology. Somebody asked me earlier, how do you keep up with so many technologies? Don't you want to focus on just very few? And I say, I have a contrarian view. Aquatech's whole focus is one thing. It's to meet the needs of our industrial clients. To do that, you need these technologies. And our whole focus is to build our technology portfolio around what industry needs, be able to master it, to ensure outcomes, not on performance test or year one, but year after year through operations. And I think the industry has seen that, and that's why we got the recognition. I think very optimistic about the future because the challenges are getting more acute. The purity of water needed is increasing. The difficulty of the water you're starting with is becoming worse and worse. The knowledge to tackle these challenges within corporate water users is because they're new. It's less. They don't have 50 years of knowledge on how to treat certain types of waste. So that breeds a lot of opportunity. The open-mindedness of corporate water users to now contract as a service and build partnerships is the most exciting part, and there's a very bright future ahead for our industry.